What if everything we've been focusing on and from isn't actually the biggest danger anymore? Because while Boyd is preparing what could be the most important mission the town has ever attempted, another threat is quietly getting stronger in the background. And honestly, after watching the latest trailer and looking at all the clues, I think Episode 8 could be the moment where multiple storylines finally collide in a way that changes the rest of the season. Hey, what's up everyone? Come back to Breakdown Epic. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. With only 2 episodes left after this one, the show is officially entering endgame territory. And what stood out to me is that Episode 8 doesn't look like a payoff episode. It looks like a setup episode. But that's exactly why I think it could be one of the most important chapters of the season, because every major character seems to be standing at a crossroads, and some of those choices may have devastating consequences. Let's start with the storyline that honestly worries me the most, and that's Henry. Throughout the season, we've watched him become more unstable, more isolated, and more vulnerable to manipulation. At first, it seemed like grief was affecting him. Then, confusion started taking over. But now, it feels like something much darker is happening. The visions, the hallucinations, the idea that this entire place might not be real, all of it seems designed to push Henry toward one specific conclusion, that he simply needs to wake up. And if that sounds familiar, that's because we've heard this kind of thinking before. That's what makes this so dangerous. Personally, I think Henry is being pushed toward a breaking point, and here's where things get really interesting. The trailer includes the sound of gunshots, and while there are multiple possibilities, I wouldn't be surprised if Henry somehow becomes connected to that situation. Not because he's evil, but because he's becoming easier to manipulate. The town, Sophia, the man in yellow, whatever force is pulling the strings, it feels like they're targeting the weakest parts of his mind. And if Henry truly starts believing that death is the way out, then we could be heading toward one of the most tragic moments of the entire season. But wait a second, because while Henry appears to be losing control, another character is suddenly gaining it.
Fatima. And honestly, this might be the biggest revelation the show has introduced in a long time. Up until now, Fatima's connection to Smiley felt mysterious and confusing. But now we're beginning to see that it might actually be useful. The fact that she was able to sense what was happening and seemingly influence Smiley's actions is huge. That isn't just a connection, that's potential power. The question is, how far that power goes. Could she track him? Could she communicate with him? Could she interfere with his decisions? Or could Smiley eventually use that connection against her? Because that's the part nobody is talking about enough. If Fatima can feel Smiley, then Smiley can probably feel her too. And that creates a dangerous situation where every advantage comes with a risk. To me, Episode 8 may be the beginning of Fatima realizing she's more important to the mystery than anyone previously believed. And the craziest part is that Boyd may need her. Speaking of Boyd, I don't think there's any chance he moves forward with his original plan. After what happened to Kenny, there's no way Boyd simply sends people into the caves without making major changes. That test proved one thing.
The monsters still have the advantage. The protection they hoped would work failed, and now Boyd knows that one wrong move could get people killed. That's why I think Episode 8 will focus less on action and more on strategy. We're probably going to see the groundwork being laid for a mission that could happen later. Who goes into the caves? Who stays behind? What happens if something goes wrong? These are the questions Boyd has to answer. And honestly, I think Fatima could become a key part of that plan. Imagine if her connection allows the group to understand where Smiley is, or what the monsters are doing. Suddenly, the mission becomes much less blind. But this leads to another theory I've been thinking about. What if the bones hidden in the caves are doing more than simply helping people escape? What if they're connected to the monsters themselves? We've heard theories about sacrifice, immortality, and the origins of these creatures for a long time now. So what if removing those bones weakens the very thing keeping them alive? That would explain why retrieving them feels so important.
And it would explain why the monsters would protect them at all costs. Let me know if I'm reaching here, but I genuinely think the bones could end up being one of the biggest keys to the entire mystery. Meanwhile, there's another storyline that feels like it's quietly building towards something major, and that's Victor, Ethan, and Tabitha. The trailer makes it clear that Victor is preparing Ethan for something. And honestly, that's terrifying, because Victor isn't acting like someone expecting things to get better. He's acting like someone preparing for the worst possible outcome. The way he talks about cycles, survival, and what happens when people are left behind makes me think he sees history repeating itself. And if that's true, then Ethan may be learning information that changes how he views the town forever. This is also where I think some forgotten mysteries could return. The Lake of Tears, Jim's strange appearances, the larger mythology of the town. It feels like the show has intentionally kept those pieces in the background, but we're running out of episodes now. At some point, those clues need to come back into focus, and episode 8 might be where that process begins.
There's also the emotional side of Victor's story, because if he genuinely believes another catastrophe is coming, then he's carrying a burden that nobody else fully understands. And honestly, that makes his scenes even more heartbreaking. Then we have a Costa, and I feel like a lot of people are overlooking her storyline. She's searching for answers, and the show usually doesn't send characters digging for information unless they're about to discover something important. Personally, I think she's going to find a clue, maybe a photograph, maybe a document, maybe evidence that proves someone isn't who they claim to be. Whatever it is, I don't think her investigation is happening for no reason. The bigger question is what she does after finding it. Does she tell Boyd? Does she keep it secret? Or does she confront the wrong person? Because if she discovers something connected to Sophia or the man in yellow, she could accidentally put herself in serious danger. And that's why I think Costa might be one of the characters we should be worried about heading into the final episodes.
At the end of the day, episode 8 feels like the calm before the storm. Not calm in the traditional sense, because this show is never calm, but calm in the sense that pieces are being moved into position. Henry appears to be approaching a breaking point. Fatima is discovering abilities she doesn't fully understand. Boyd is preparing a dangerous mission. Victor is preparing Ethan for a future he hopes never happens. And hidden somewhere beneath all of it is a mystery that still hasn't revealed its final secrets. Personally, I think this episode will leave us with more questions than answers, but those questions could set up one of the most intense final stretches that From has ever delivered. But what do you think? Is Henry heading toward a tragic fate? Can Fatima's connection to Smiley actually help the group? And could the bones be the secret behind the monster's immortality? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future From theories, breakdowns, and Season 4 coverage. With the finale getting closer, things are only going to get crazier from here. I will catch you in the next one.